نسخه کامل پادکستی که قرار پخش بشه رو با همین کیفیت ترجمه و بدون سانسور فقط تو پرشین پادکست میتونید پیدا کنید. اولین و بزرگترین آرشیو پادکست‌های خارجی به زبان فارسی در ایران. پرشین پادکست شامل صدها ساعت محتوا از معروف‌ترین افراد در زمینه‌های سرمایه‌گذاری، درآمدزایی، فیتنس، سبک زندگی، روانشناسی، سخنوری و ده‌ها موضوع دیگه است. آرشیو آماده و کامل در محیط کاربری اسمارت پلیر. داخل پرشین پادکست چندین سری مختلف داریم که به صورت میانگین هر روز دارن آپدیت میشن. با یه اشتراک به همه این سری‌ها دسترسی داریم. همین الان به این آیدی تو تلگرام کد تخفیف رو ارسال کن تا شرایط عضویت برات ارسال بشه.
You're simply wrong.
If that's what you believe, Piers.
It's what I believe.
I don't believe in things that take power away.
There is not an eminent doctor in the world
Piers
that would agree with it.
Piers,
do you think you know more than doctors?
I can't become clinically depressed.
Why do you know?
Because I don't believe in it.
Maybe when you want to explore all the levels on the map of life, you don't just want all the levels at the top. See, this is the mistake most people make. They sit there in a normal life and they dream of being rich and going on nice vacations and dreaming of all the nice things. They don't dream of all the bad things. They think they can have all the light with none of the dark. That's not how it works. The only reason you appreciate being rich is because you were poor. If you were born rich, you don't appreciate it. The only reason you appreciate being in good health is because you were once sick. When you're sick, you'll do anything to be healthy. If you've never experienced sickness, you don't know what health is. There is no light without dark. I talk about this all the time. People say I've had a traumatic life. I say, well, then you're very, very fortunate. You had a traumatic life. Now, you may have misused that trauma. You may have misplaced it. You may have accepted the matrix telling you that you now have an excuse to fail, as opposed to using it to grow. But every single man of value went through trauma, and they went through pain. It's going to be painful to get strong, painful to get rich, painful to become important. It's going to be painful to become good with women. Your heart's going to get broken a bunch of times. You have to be prepared for the pain. If you're not ready for pain, you're never going to be anything that matters. So Justin just absolutely and utterly nailed it. My kickboxing coach used to say to me, I used to come in the gym, say, what do you hate the most? And I said, I hate running. He said, okay, you're going running. I say, why? He goes, because whatever you hate is what you need. Whatever you hate is what you need. I wanted to spar, bag work, pads, no problem. Running, I didn't want to run, but that's what you need. And that's what life's about. You're not going to be able to go through life avoiding pain and also becoming a man of quality. You're going to have to be that guy who's been through so much shit that he can wake up and go, this ain't nothing. This ain't nothing compared to back then. This ain't nothing compared to that time. You know, and if you're not going to be that guy, then you're going to always suffer the consequences of not being that guy.
Well, I know one thing, and this is a true statement that I've said several times. A lot of us don't know of a whole nother world that exists. It's on the other side of suffering. Once you break these barriers that you have made for yourself, like the mind is the most powerful thing in the world. In the world, it is so amazing that I used to be a 300-pound guy, and I thought that was it. Could barely read, could do anything, and now that what was inside that person was this guy that's in front of you today. That's how scary the mind is, and that's what I started realizing through this journey. Is that once I got a taste of, wow, man, I haven't even cracked. I haven't even begun to crack what the mind is capable of. And I started realizing is on the other end of suffering, that's the real growth of life. Because you realize how the mind processes shit. And I talk about another thing called theory and practice. A lot of people are theorists. These smart guys that read these fucking books and shit, man, and they sit down, they tell you what the mind is supposed to do. And a lot of us listen to that shit. It becomes like, this is it, man. This old man who has been studying the mind forever, this is the cap that we have. By being a practitioner, I went out and realized a lot of these guys are so wrong, man. The mind has capabilities that are so unknown. I found that through suffering. And there's a whole other world on the other end of that.
There's pain to become important, and there's pain in not being important. So you have to make a choice. So I think Justin absolutely utterly nailed it. I think his answer is even better than mine could be. You need to find something you're afraid of, find something that could hurt you, and go do it. And that's one of the great things about being young, right? You're basically superhuman. Yeah. All of us are our age. We're all in our 30s. I remember when I was 21, bro, I could run through a wall. Bro, I could drink all night. Yeah. I'd run 20 miles. Fight all day. You couldn't hurt me. Like I had Wolverine-like healing abilities. And this is actually one of the problems with the world today. I noticed the internet's this up because we have all these youngsters who have a voice. They all think they know something on Twitter and on the internet, these kids, right? When I was 23, 22, I didn't know shit. I'm 35 now. I'm one of the smartest men on the planet. And when I was 23, I didn't know shit. When you're 35, you're definitely going to still be a dumbass. So when you're 23, like you are now, you don't know anything. Your only attribute is the fact you have Wolverine-like healing abilities and you're not using it. Stop talking, start listening, get out there, get hurt, get the back up. There is a degree of wisdom that comes from physicality. I learned a whole bunch of shit about the world from just having my ass kicked. It wasn't even conversations. It was just getting beaten up. And you learn about the world from I write tweets and people are like, that's so wise, where'd you learn that? I was like, oh, kicked in the face. That's how.
What do you believe about depression? Do you believe depression is a real thing?
I believe that feeling depressed is real. I don't believe depression as a clinical disease is real, no. I believe that the number one power you have against these things are trying to take control of your own mind and affecting your own life. I believe that it's not healthy to hand over all your power and believe that depression is an outside disease that you can't affect. I know that when I've had difficult periods in my life, and also many of my friends, like I've said, suffer from PTSD and been through terrible things. I've lived a very difficult life, and I know people who have. That the things that made them feel better is when they woke up and said, you know what, I'm not going to allow this to damage me anymore. I'm going to take responsibility. I'm going to get up and I'm going to fight this as hard as I can. If someone comes to me and says I'm clinically depressed or I feel very, very sad, I would say the first thing you need to do is stop accepting the identity of a clinically depressed person. Stop accepting you have no control over this. And my point is that a lot of people who are clinically depressed are suffering with something in their life, and if you fix the problem in their life, perhaps they won't feel depressed anymore. That's not a disease.
No, but Andrew,
that's situational.
Andrew, you're simply wrong.
If that's what you believe, Piers.
That's what I believe.
I don't believe in things that take power away from you.
There is not an eminent doctor in the world
Piers,
that would agree with you.
Piers,
do you think you know more than doctors?
I can't become clinically depressed.
Why do you know?
Because I don't believe in it.
Your mind has a tactical advantage over you at all times. It knows your weaknesses, it knows your strengths, and it will guide you into your nice comfort zone.
Yeah.
We have to reprogram our mind to get like a different vantage point, so then you know how to be in charge of yourself.
Yep.
Versus your mind being in charge of you. I call that my 40% rule, where like a car has a governor on it. It can go 130. You know, the governor's only going to go 91.
Right.
And the whole thing about that is a true statement, you know, like what you said. Our mind wants to protect us. The mind is like, honestly, it has a tactical advantage over us. It knows our deepest, darkest fears or insecurities. It knows where we start to feel, we start getting that doubt creeping. It says, hey man, you know what, man, maybe this isn't good. Let's go back home to the wife. Let's go back home to the kids. This is not comfortable. So in that moment, the mind directs us. It's a protective mechanism. It saves us from doing bodily harm, or it really saves us from discovering that the mind's like, I want to be in charge of you. I don't want you to be in charge of me. So it tells you, let's just stop right here. But once you start breaking through that barrier and start breaking down that governor that you've put in your mind, because we forget we are in control of our mind. We believe it's the other way around. No, we put in our minds what we should do, but we believe our mind is telling us, it's giving us all this feedback. We have to reprogram it and tell us, no, we're good. We're good, this sucks, but it's okay. Everything I've ever done in my life, I didn't want to do. Everything, every day. I'm a lazy piece of shit. And I'm one of the hardest working people that ever stepped foot on this planet Earth. And I'm saying that very proudly because I know what I do. It's not cocky. I'll tell you I'm stupid. And I'll also tell you the exact opposite of what I've done. It's the truth. It is the truth. So imagine how much I've developed in that time frame. But this is the scary thing. Why most people don't want to do that, build that willpower, is because it is scary. It unlocks a whole bunch of things about who you are and who you're not. And a lot of people don't want to go down that journey to discover who they are and who they're not. Because it's not a pretty journey. I mean, I've gone down it. It's not like I went down it once. I go down it all the time. And when you unlock that, and you can't just turn it off. Like people say, hey, well, how come you haven't retired yet? I built all this willpower. Do you think it's gonna let me just retire because my knees hurt? It's telling me every morning. I wake up like, man, my knees hurt, my legs hurt, my body hurts, but you can still run. So why aren't you running? if you can still run, there'll be a time when you can't lace them up anymore, but you can still run. So I still run. When the time comes I can't run, the body will say, you just can't run. But if I can still do something, that willpower that I have created, it makes me do it every day. And that's what they don't get. What builds a human being is you start with the small building blocks. And before you know it, man, you become something that it doesn't even make sense to most people because it's just who you are now. That's why I can still run at 50 at 49 with broke down knees and broke down body. Because my body knows you still can. Therefore I do. Second you stop, the willpower is gone.
I made this decision to be this man, and I understood exactly what it comes with. And a lot of people at the bottom see all of the benefits. They see our cars, see the private jets, they see the girls, they see the status, and they want all of that, but they don't want the negatives. And that's why they're never going to get it.
Yep.
Because on your way up, you're going to start getting hit with the negatives. You're going to be derailed. There's no way to get to the top without dealing with monumental levels of stress. I often say the reason a lot of people don't have the things they want is they couldn't handle the things they want. They couldn't handle the life that is required to get the things they want. They simply would get anywhere near it and start to panic and pussy out and just go on holiday and hide on a beach and delete their social media.
Even comments.
Bro, mean comments. I've got street problems. You think I give a about mean comments from some anon? It's difficult for me to put into words how much I don't care. But there's people out there that do care.
Yeah.
And then they think, oh, I want to be like Top G, but you can't handle a comment on the internet. Bruv, these people are born to lose. So you have to decide, and you need to look in the mirror and really make a decision, because I think perhaps if you want to build a life, choosing your life path and knowing which life path you want to go down is going to allow you to be the most effective in the construction of that life. If you say, I can't handle that stress, I want to be somewhere in the middle, then accept it, accept the good and bad that comes with that, accept the kind of life you want to build and go do it. But don't sit there and say, I want to be Top G, I want to live this great life, and you're not prepared for war.
What's funny is this. If you were to take somebody who says, I'm doing my best, I'm really trying, and you were to get an exact schedule of their last week and find all the times they've wasted time, you'd say, look, you've wasted time, wasted time, wasted time, wasted time. You know what's actually amazing? Most of those people are not even self-reflective enough to go, you're right, I'm not trying my best. You know what they'd say? Well, I have to rest sometimes. Well, I have to have a social life. Well, they'd be so arrogant. God loves people who try. God loves people who work hard. It's amazing if you try your very best all the time, what God will give you. He'll give it to you, anything you want, if you actually try. I am absolutely and utterly a believer in hard work. I'm a proponent of hard work. I have all this money and all I do is work. My entire life is work. This podcast is work. I'm getting in the car, I'm going to another meeting, work. I'm going to go to the gym so I'm in good shape, work. It's all work. My entire life is work. And people don't want to look at life that way. They want to talk about work-life balance and being lazy and all this crap. I don't believe in any of that. I believe in, if you want to win, you have to outcompete the man who's prepared to do nothing but work. It's player versus player. If you're going to sit there and go, I don't want to work more than an hour a day, well, the guy who does want to work more than an hour a day is going to beat you. And no matter how smart you are, there's always a smart dude who's doing the same smart work you are for more hours than you're doing it. That's just the nature of the game. So if you're the kind of person who's going to quit because it's hard, then f*** off. I don't even want your energy around me.
I have so many conversations in my mind because so many times I want to quit.
Sure.
But this is what it is. This is what I figured out. I was so afraid of myself that I had to figure out, I became a master of my mind. People, when you're afraid of something, you have to master it. That's how you start to overcome it. So what I realized, when I get to that point where I want to quit, everybody, they get to the point where they want to quit. This is what happens. The mind tells you, let's go home. Let's take a warm shower. Let's get some food. This is not right. This is that. If you cannot answer the questions at that moment, because your mind's going to start giving you all these questions. And if you can't answer them, you're going to quit. What I realized when I was going through Budge, Ranger School, all this 100-mile race, 200-mile races, pull-up records, my mind would come creeping in. Like when I was doing 4,030 pull-ups at 2,000 pull-ups and my hands were ripped open, my mind said, look, brother, we've done all these other things. You've proven yourself. You're good. If I didn't have the answer to respond to my mind and say why I'm here, why I'm doing this, you will always lose that fight. You have to have the response to what your mind is going to tell you. And another thing about that is self-talk. A lot of people have like these big four on mental toughness. All that shit is crap. about self-talk, visualization. It's true, but the thing about self-talk and all these things, they ask me, what do you think about when you're on mile 100 of a 205-mile run? What are you thinking about when you realize you've run for 24 hours and you have 24 more hours to run and you have another 105 miles? What goes through your mind? What do you say to yourself? I want to know. A lot of people think self-talk works. It does, but it doesn't work without the suffering before your mind starts saying we need self-talk. So what I tell myself is I go back to the months and years of preparation to get to that day. And I'm telling myself, the 3:30 in the morning, and I'm looking at my shoes and I want to go out there and run 30 miles. I have to, in that second, in that moment of this self-talk, my mind saying, you got to find more, you got to find more. I once again calm down, go back into my mind, in my cookie jar, I call it, and I have to reflect back on the shit I did to get here. And that becomes my self-talk. Self-talk does not work unless it is real. Most of us lie to ourselves in the self-talk. It doesn't work. It has to be real. It has to be something that you've done to make it really work.
What do you say to young men who come to you for advice, who feel lost, who don't really know where they fit into society?
I say that life as a man is exceptionally difficult. I say the most beautiful and the most terrifying thing about being a man is you're born without value. Society doesn't care about you. You're only going to be cared about based on how useful you are. You have the chance to build yourself up and become a superhero if you're prepared to do the hard work and be indefatigable enough to never quit. But if you're going to stand around and wait for a handout, nobody's going to ever respect you. And I think that a lot of people have forgotten about how difficult and how competitive it is as a man. We're always in constant competition with each other. And it's your duty as a man to stand up and say, I want to be as important and strong and good-hearted and God-fearing as possible. And I need to work hard to achieve those things.
Dame Sheila Hancock says we've become too over-emotional as a society, crying too much about everything. Has she got a point?
She's completely right. And the dangerous thing about overly emotional men is that they're dangerous. They're genuinely dangerous. This is what's crazy. All these people who talk about toxic masculinity and how bad it is for men to be traditionally masculine. A traditionally masculine man does things he doesn't feel like doing because it is his duty to do them. He charges into the building because it is his duty. Not because he feels like it, because it is his duty. We're now teaching the new generation of men that they don't have duty and they can just act on their feelings and act how they feel, and they don't have to act as a man should. Do you know what happens when you get men who just act how they feel? You get school shooters, you get violence, you get rapists. Men who do not control their emotions are dangerous. If you find a man who is stoic, he's not going to hurt people. He's going to sit and think about his actions very carefully, and he's going to be a good man who protects and provides for his family. You find a man who just acts out on impulse and does whatever he feels like, you're going to find a dangerous man. Sitting here telling men to cry more and act with their feelings and it's okay to feel this way, that way, etc., and have no self-control. That is why we have the problems we have in the world. Absolutely and utterly wrong. So when they talk about toxic masculinity, they have it completely inversed on its head, completely and utterly wrong. We need to be teaching stoicism. We need to be teaching young men to understand that the world is very, very difficult. It's hard to be a man. You're going to feel bad sometimes. You just suck it up and perform anyway. Not to sit there and cry your eyes out or blame other people.
What do you think most people get wrong about motivation?
They think it's a permanent fix. They think it's something that is a constant. They think that maybe once I get it, I'm going to hold on to it. And that's the thing about that I was telling you, that I always talk about, is nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. And a lot of times you have to learn to perform without motivation. You have to learn to perform without purpose. You have to learn to perform a lot of different things. And that's what people think. They think I need to have this motivation to work out, to study, to be better. So if they don't have it, they just don't do it. And that's where you fail. You have to learn to train your mind well beyond motivation. If you have motivation, that's great. That's some kindling to the fire. All it takes is a little bit of fucking spark, you can burn the whole forest up. But motivation, you have to learn to exist without it. You have to learn to be, you have to be your best self when you're least motivated. And that's the tricky part about all that shit. Motivation is just a word. You have to have these different things in your mind on where you want to go and know that motivation is not going to get me there. Because I'm not going to always be motivated.
Jocko said the exact same thing. He said that discipline eats motivation for breakfast.
And discipline is good too. But without a clear headspace, there's no discipline.
What do you mean?
So let's say we have a circuit breaker, okay? And I'm loading everything up to one circuit. Just load it up. it's gonna fucking blow. And once that thing blows, man, the circuit's all fucked up. You gotta have each thing plugged into the right spot, like a fucking crowded garage. You can't put anything in it. Once your brain is crowded, discipline is great, motivation is great, but if you can't fit shit in your brain because it's all cluttered with shit, there's no discipline. You may have it sometimes when it fits in that crowded garage of your mind, but you don't have the consistency that you need to have with that discipline.
So what are you talking about here? Are you saying doing self-work and reflecting on you as an individual? Are you doing therapy?
I call it mental zones. I don't get into it much because it would be here all day. But basically, is you're organizing your mind so you can put that discipline. So a lot of people talk about discipline. Okay, great. Why do you fall off the wagon? Why can't I continue with this routine? Going to the gym, being better, waking up early, eating the right foods. It's because maybe it's your kids, maybe it's your wife, maybe it's your job, and it's all just stuffed in your fucking brain. You don't have it compartmentalized and organized in these nice shelves. Like you look in the garage, it's all a nice organized militant garage. Hey, where are my dumbbells? Right there. A lot of people whose brain, hey, where's my dumbbells? Let me look. They're fucking throwing shit, they're looking through totes, they're all fucked up. So where am I going to put discipline in that mind if I can't find other shit? You got to be able to find all these different things in your mind. Oh, I can put discipline right there. I can put consistency right there. I can put all these things right there in that spot. So that's what I'm talking about. If your life is not organized, and your life being everything around you, because it takes one little piece of an outside interference to clutter your whole mind.
Because it's on such a knife edge.
That's right. And people don't get that. Your mind has to always be clear. That's why I meditate 2 hours every single night. Because I refresh, I reorganize the garage, which is my mind, every night. So then discipline's in there, organization, everything is in this right spot. So when I wake up, I'm ready to go.